The world had only just begun to settle after the final whistle of Lionel Messi's historic match with Paris Saint-Germain. The stadium, which had been filled with tens of thousands of screaming fans, was still buzzing with excitement. News outlets, social media feeds, and sports analysts had all but exhausted themselves talking about Messi's unparalleled career, his records, his magic on the field, the triumphs and heartbreaks, and the ultimate question that lingered in the air: what was next for the legendary player? No one could have guessed that the next chapter would come not from a football pitch but from the stars. It was during one of his final interviews when the unthinkable happened. Messi was seated at a table, surrounded by cameras and reporters, when a strange distortion flickered in the air. At first, no one noticed. It was a soft hum, like a slight interference in the airwaves, but then it became undeniable. The lights dimmed for just a moment, and before anyone could react, a spherical object descended from above. The sphere was glowing faintly, its surface shifting between colors like liquid mercury. The crowd fell silent, the hum of excitement now replaced by an eerie stillness. The sphere slowly floated down, stopping directly in front of Messi, who remained seated, his eyes narrowed in disbelief. He had seen technology far beyond the ordinary during his career, but this was something else entirely. The object hovered there for a few moments longer before the lights inside it flared brightly, and an image appeared in its center. A figure took form, tall and slender, with skin a deep shade of violet. The being's face was androgynous, its eyes large and glowing, filled with an unsettling yet calming intensity. The alien spoke, its voice like a melody that vibrated through the air in a multitude of frequencies. "Greetings, Earth's champion," the alien began, its tone smooth yet rich, almost musical. "We are the Carians of Mars. We have observed your skill in the Earth sport you call football. Our civilization seeks to learn through games and competition. Will you accept our invitation to a match on our world?" The words hung in the air like a challenge, and the crowd around Messi erupted into a chorus of gasps, whispers, and frantic questions. Was this real? Was this a hoax? The aliens had chosen him. But Messi, always the calm and humble figure, took a moment, his mind racing as the weight of the moment began to sink in. He glanced at the sphere and then back at the alien image. "I'm listening," Messi said, his voice steady but tinged with curiosity. The Carian's smile was enigmatic, a gesture that conveyed both knowledge and amusement. "Our people have long sought to learn from the greatest of other worlds. We have witnessed your prowess on the field, and we offer a chance to demonstrate the depth of our understanding. The match will be played under the sky of Mars." Without hesitation, Messi nodded. "I'll need my boots." The alien's laugh was like a harmonious chime. "Of course. Your boots will be waiting for you. Prepare yourself, Earth's champion. The game awaits." As quickly as it had appeared, the image faded. The crowd erupted into chaos, but Messi stood up slowly, still processing what had just happened. The days that followed were a blur. The media exploded with speculation, and fans around the world waited for the next move. But Messi knew one thing: this was a challenge unlike any other. A match on Mars. Against extraterrestrial beings. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that transcended everything he had ever known. Days later, Messi stood in a sterile white room, dressed in a jumpsuit designed for extraterrestrial travel. The Carians had taken every precaution, ensuring that the journey to Mars was safe for Earth's greatest player. And as he stood in the sleek spacecraft, ready to embark on this unimaginable journey, the weight of his decision settled even deeper into his bones. He wasn't just representing Argentina, or Barcelona, or Paris Saint-Germain. He was representing the entire human race, the very idea of Earth, and its love for the beautiful game. The trip took several days, but the strange serenity of space made it feel as though time had stretched, as if he were in a dream. He stared out of the ship's window, seeing the distant, barren world of Mars growing ever closer. When the ship finally landed, a soft landing on the alien soil, Messi stepped out into the cold, thin air of the Martian landscape. The gravity on Mars was weaker, and Messi immediately felt the difference, his movements lighter than usual. His boots, designed for the occasion, were equipped with specially calibrated technology to adjust to the Martian environment. Around him stretched a surreal landscape of red sand, vast dunes, and towering rock formations. The atmosphere was thin, giving the entire world a washed-out hue. But even in this strange, desolate place, the alien energy was undeniable. Above him, the sky was a deep, rust-colored expanse, and a faint hum resonated in the air, as if the planet itself was alive. A translucent dome stretched out before him, encasing the Martian pitch. It was clear, but it shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Beyond the dome, in the distance, he could see the faint outline of a city unlike any Messi had ever seen. Geometrically complex buildings, rising like giant crystals, caught the Martian light in strange angles. The Carians had a civilization of unparalleled sophistication, and it was clear that this game was not just about football, it was about something greater. Something that transcended the borders of their two worlds. Messi adjusted his jersey, feeling the weight of his Earth roots even more keenly in this alien environment. A sudden rustle in the distance caught his attention, and he turned to see the Carians approaching the pitch. There were 6 of them, each one unlike the next. One had long, tendril-like limbs that seemed to stretch and contract in a fluid, almost serpentine manner. Another hovered slightly above the ground, its feet never quite touching the soil. Another still had a body that seemed to split into 2, only to merge again in the blink of an eye. They were all strange, and yet, somehow familiar. Messi smiled to himself. He had faced many challenges in his career, but none like this. The whistle blew, not a sharp shrill but a melodic tone that resonated in the air. And with that, the game began. The ball, strangely luminous and yet unmistakably a football, was placed at the center of the pitch, and the match erupted into motion. The Carians were unlike any players Messi had faced before. They moved with an unnatural grace, their bodies stretching and contorting in ways that seemed impossible. One player was everywhere at once, splitting into multiple shapes, confusing Messi's usual markers and tactics. Another's arms seemed to extend into impossible lengths, reaching out to block the ball before Messi even saw it coming. But Messi was ready. His experience and skill were unmatched, and he quickly adapted to the strange rhythm of the game. With a deft touch, he danced past 2 Carians, sending the ball forward with precision. The crowd, a mix of Earth's finest and the Martian citizens who had gathered to watch, erupted into applause. Messi could feel the energy in the air. This wasn't just a game, it was an exchange, a meeting of worlds through the universal language of sport. As Messi sprinted toward the goal, he realized this match was more than just football. It was about bridging the gap between Earth and the cosmos. It was about showing the Carians the power of teamwork, passion, and the beauty of the sport he loved so much. And with that thought in mind, he pressed on, determined to prove that no matter where you were in the universe, the game was always the same. The Martian air was thin, but that didn't stop Lionel Messi from feeling an electric charge pulse through his veins as the game continued. Each step, each movement was slightly different in the low gravity of Mars. The pitch, although strange with its shimmering translucent surface, felt like home to him. It was as if the very earth beneath his feet responded to his every move. He could hear the distant hum of the crowd, an eerie, harmonious sound that seemed to emanate from the alien spectators all around the dome. Despite the surreal surroundings, Messi's focus remained laser-sharp. The whistle had blown, signaling the beginning of this once-in-a-lifetime match. The Carians, their bodies moving in unnatural ways, set the pace. The ball they played with was unlike any football he had ever seen. glowing faintly and pulsating with strange energy. It almost seemed alive. Messi couldn't help but feel a deep sense of wonder as he locked eyes with the Carians. They weren't just opponents, they were representatives of a species far more advanced than any he had ever imagined. Yet they treated this game as a matter of honor. And it was clear, from their movements, that they were determined to win. The first few minutes were a blur of extraordinary athleticism. Messi darted between two defenders, the floating player who hovered inches above the ground and the one whose limbs stretched impossibly long. With his customary deftness, Messi managed to elude the first defender but was quickly met with another Carian who seemed to fold its body into two, splitting into a reflection of itself. Messi's eyes widened as he watched the split second of the mirage-like duplication, trying to read its next move. Before he could make a pass, one of the split players reformed, and a long arm shot out like a whip, blocking Messi's shot. He had never seen anything like it. The Carians weren't just playing with new tactics, they were bending the very laws of physics. Despite this, Messi grinned. He loved a challenge. The match resumed, but Messi's mind raced as he adapted to the surreal conditions of the Martian pitch. He noticed the ball was lighter in the low gravity, making his touches far more precise and allowing for faster, more intricate dribbles. Every movement, however, felt as though it was magnified in the vast emptiness of the Martian landscape. The dunes and rock formations loomed in the background, a constant reminder of how far he had traveled. The Carians, too, seemed to adjust. They communicated through subtle shifts and gestures, their collective coordination almost telepathic. One of the defenders, a player with a sleek, streamlined body, extended its arms, sending the ball forward into the air. Messi's first instinct was to leap, but he quickly realized that the Martian gravity allowed him to jump higher than ever before. His legs, lighter than they had ever been, propelled him upwards, and he found himself soaring toward the ball. With perfect timing, Messi met the ball mid-air, connecting with his forehead, sending it rocketing toward the goal. A roar of excitement filled the air, though the crowd's cheers were somewhat muted by the atmospheric conditions. Messi watched as the Carian goalkeeper, a towering being with 6 arms, shot forward, its multiple limbs stretching like tendrils to block the strike. But even with its advanced reflexes, the goalkeeper's reach fell just short, and the ball collided with the back of the net. The goal was scored. The Martian field erupted in a chorus of alien sound, a strange blend of frequencies that Messi couldn't quite understand. Yet there was no mistaking the reverence in the cheers. This wasn't just a game to the Carians, it was a ceremony, a celebration of skill, honor, and unity. Messi jogged back to his team, a group of Earth players who had been chosen to accompany him to Mars. Each one of them looked just as awestruck as he felt. They were here, on Mars, playing football against extraterrestrial beings who had mastered not just technology but every form of athleticism imaginable. But Messi knew one thing for certain. No matter how advanced their civilization was, football was still football. It was a game of passion, precision, and, above all, heart. The Carians, however, weren't about to let the goal slide. They quickly regrouped, and the match resumed with an intensity that was only amplified by the gravity-defying conditions of the Martian atmosphere. The Carians now adopted a more aggressive approach, using their strange abilities to confuse and overwhelm the Earth team. One of the Carians, the one with the ability to split into two, hovered near Messi, its form changing constantly, now shifting left, now right. Messi was quick to adapt, predicting its movements as if it were any other defender. He sidestepped one of the splits, using a quick burst of acceleration to sprint past it. But just as he thought he had broken through, another defender, a Carian with tentacle-like limbs, appeared from the side, sliding on the pitch as if gravity didn't apply to it. Messi's reflexes kicked in. He faked left and darted right, forcing the Carian to lunge, missing by mere inches. The ball rolled into space, and Messi saw his chance. He sprinted to the open field, calling out to his teammate, who was positioned near the goal. The ball came to him in perfect rhythm, just like it always had on Earth. With a single touch, Messi passed it off, sending it toward his teammate. But the Korean defense wasn't finished yet. The defender who had been floating just above the ground shot toward the ball, knocking it off course. Messi watched in amazement as the defender's body, now fully extended, seemed to blur into a burst of speed that bent the laws of physics. The match, despite the earlier goal, was proving to be more difficult than he had anticipated. The Koreans were relentless. And although their tactics were unlike anything Messi had faced before, the Earth players responded with the teamwork and discipline that had carried them to success in their own world. They weren't about to give up. Another counterattack came from the Koreans as they pushed forward, working in perfect sync. One of them, a player with elongated limbs, flicked the ball high into the air, aiming for the goal. Messi's eyes narrowed. He anticipated the ball's trajectory and leapt, feeling the thrill of weightlessness for a split second before his feet landed back on the pitch. As the ball fell, Messi positioned himself perfectly. With one swift movement, he volleyed the ball back into play, sending it to his teammate who was ready to strike. They were in sync, moving like a well-oiled machine. But before the shot could be taken, the Martian goalkeeper stretched out an arm, blocking the attempt with a shocking display of agility. The save was unbelievable. Messi could only smile in admiration. Impressive, he muttered under his breath, acknowledging the alien goalkeeper's skill. The first half of the match ended with the score still 1-0 in favor of Earth. The Martian sky above them remained as red and ominous as it had been when they arrived, and the strange city in the distance looked even more surreal. But for now, the game had captured all of Messi's attention. As he jogged to the sideline, wiping the sweat from his brow, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of respect for his alien opponents. The Koreans, despite their advanced technology and strange abilities, had a love for the game just like he did. And that connection, that bond formed through the universal language of sport, was what made this match on Mars something truly special. Ready for the second half? One of his teammates asked, clapping Messi on the back. Messi's eyes sparkled with excitement as he nodded. Let's show them what Earth can do.